right. Thank you, guys. It is 6 p.m. So today we have Eliza Love. She is thankful to be a member of the Parents Challenge family. She is presently a PhD candidate at North Central University, and her dissertation focuses on classroom social emotional intelligences. She is a pre-K through 8th grade educator in Colorado Springs School District 11, and she holds licenses in early childhood, elementary, English, language arts, and gifted education. Ms. Love is also an adjunct professor at Grand Canyon University, and she has penned a critical thinking children's book titled, Will a Horse Eat a Hamburger? Ms. Love considers her greatest joys to be her 5 children, 2 teenage sons, and triplet 4-year-old daughters, in addition to family chihuahuas. Postdoctorate, Ms. Love hopes to act as an advocate for solo parent families, inform the family court system regarding children's best interests, and testify to reform U.S. education. And now, without further ado, Eliza Love.
Okay, my Zoom would not pop out. I am so sorry. That was such a lovely introduction, and then we just had to wait. So welcome. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I think the first people skill you need to know is unmute on Zoom or WebEx. That's mandatory. So thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it. We're going to have a little fun tonight. We're going to learn some things, and hopefully it'll be not too painful. I really appreciate those of you who have attended a session with me before, and you guys gave some feedback that was really valuable at my last session. And so I've implemented some new things that hopefully, will be in line with some of the feedback you gave. Alrighty, so to begin, this session is appropriate for kids and adults. We will start with the whole family being able to be here. So if you have teenagers, elementary school, probably 3rd, 4th, 5th graders, even younger would be a little bit okay. If you have teenagers, high schoolers, etc., feel free to invite them in. They can maybe show you how to do this first part because we're going to play a game together. So in the chat, I'm going to put for you guys a website that you guys can go to. It's just Kahoot.it. So KAHOOT.IT. If you want to go onto it on your phone, you can play on your phone as well. And that way you can keep your computer for the meeting. Vice versa, if you're on a phone for the meeting, you can go onto your computer. So if you go to that website, I'm going to share my screen real quick. And I will give you guys the code. And then Raquel, in the chat, I sent you the link to the updated Google Slides. So maybe after we play the game, if you don't mind, putting it in. And the game is not mandatory. Don't stress out. You'll be able to see my screen. So if you don't want to play along, it's not mandatory. It's just, if you choose. All right, when you are at Kahoot.it, KAHOOT.IT, it's going to ask you for a game code. Your game code is 207-8947. 207-8947. Excellent. Welcome, Chase and Renee and Jeff and Derek and Holly. And Mama and Jax, welcome. Then there's going to be way too many people joining for me to say everybody's names. So welcome, everyone. I'll give about 30 more seconds for everybody to join. So again, we're at Kahoot, KAHOOT.IT. And your game pin is 2078947. It's on my screen if you do better with reading things than hearing things. All right, anybody else want to join? Go ahead and pop in the chat if you're trying to join, but need just one moment. Yeah, you don't have to, again, if your phone's going to crash or anything like that, you don't have to do both. So. All right, we're going to go ahead and start. And if you didn't get a chance to join, we're going to play this again at the end too. So you can pop in right at the end. What are people skills? The red option is how to make people like me. Yellow is AKA interpersonal skills, what we need to live together in peace. You can also answer, I don't know, that's fine. Or something to do with people, right? Is green, something about people. Excellent. Man, you guys are smart. I love it. All right, true or false? You must love people to have good people skills. It says, I can't with people is what the little picture says. Okay, great. Oh man, Melissa got booted right out. Sorry, Melissa. Okay, true or false? Having good people skills means I let people take whatever they want from me. That doesn't sound fun. The owl just killed me. He just made me laugh, so I put him in. Wow, you guys are fast. Okay, excellent. Ooh, there's Lori. She has a streak with 3 correct answers in a row. The skills I need to get along with people are patience, healthy boundaries, assertive communication, or green is all of the above. Excellent. Here goes Melissa. Melissa's back. Up 4 places, Derek is the highest climber. Nice job, Derek. True or false, I am responsible for others' choices and how they react to their feelings. True or false? I am responsible for others' choices and how they react to their feelings. True or false? Great. Boy, oh boy, this Parents Challenge group is so smart. I knew it. Here's a puzzle. You're going to put these in order. So the steps I need to take to build good people skills are, I give you a hint that red is first. So read research and tips on how to improve my people skills, list my strengths and weaknesses, figure out who I am and what I want, and ask trusted people around me to help. And you just drag them up and down. Oh, I guess maybe it did it from the bottom. Just kidding. So sorry. Being flexible is part of having good people skills. Sorry about that. So yes, figuring out who you are and what you want, listing your strengths and weaknesses, asking trusted people around you to help, and then reading research and tips on how to improve your people skills. You can really do those in any order, but that's an easy way. First is to figure out who you are and what you want. That's how you'll be most successful. Yeah, players lost their answer streak. That was my fault. Totally. Sorry about that. True or false? Having good people skills means being fake or doing what people want just to get them to like me. Great job. Here comes Michelle back. It's important to have good people skills because red says they will help me make and keep friends. Yellow says they will help me reach goals and create the future I desire. Blue says they will help me to help others improve. And green says they will help me with all of these attributes. Great. Oh boy, I'm not giving you any advice on this one because I told you the wrong thing last time. What can stop me from being a people person? So it says list the most impactful to the least. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if it wants you to do it from top to bottom or bottom to top. Do your thing, chicken wing. You guys are smart. It's really just a game. So red is bias and prejudice. Blue is trauma and past experiences. Yellow is personal insecurity. And green is fear of taking risks. All right, and we're going to talk more about all of this, so don't worry about it. Nice job, Laura, David, Derek, T. Graves, and Elizabeth. All right, last one, true or false? Either you are born with people skills or you're not. Either you're born with people skills or you're not. And we had to use Batman because he's a superhero, but he just kind of doesn't feel that super about it sometimes. All right, excellent. Let's see in third. Oh, I can't see the names. Dang it. So we have David. You guys can probably see him. Derek was in third. David was second. And Laura was first. Excellent. All right. Give me one moment and we're going to hop into our presentation. All right, welcome to Parents Challenge People Skills. You guys got a little intro and a little background about what people skills are and why it's important to have them. You rocked the Kahoot, so awesome job to everybody. All right, people skills are also known as interpersonal skills. So just like we have the internet with a bunch of different websites connected, inter is about multiple being connected. So people are connected. So it's the skills that you use to interact with people on a daily basis. There are quite a few attributes that go along with these skills. Teamwork is one of them. If you can get along with people to achieve a common goal, obviously you know what being responsible means, being dependable and a good leader, motivating yourself and others, being able to motivate others, being flexible in your thinking, your attitudes, your beliefs, being a patient person, careful about praying for patience. That's how I ended up with triplets. Having empathy for people, being able to listen to and think about not only sympathy as I feel sorry for you, but empathy is how would I feel if I was in that same position? And then using active listening. Too often when we listen, we hear what we think we've heard instead of what the other person's actually trying to tell us. So I'll give you some tips that you can use to increase your active listening and each of these attributes. All right, must love people. Some common misconceptions are that people skills depend on being an extrovert, a people person, or in having a deep desire to be around people. There are many people who had great people skills who would define themselves as an introvert, meaning that maybe they don't really like to stand out in front of people. They don't like to give presentations. They prefer just to work in smaller groups instead of in front of large groups of people. So a misconception, something that isn't the case, is that people skills are either given at birth or not. And then another misconception is people with good people skills are always comfortable interacting with people. I think we've become aware in the past decade or so of some really public figures who were extroverts who were struggling on the inside, and people didn't know because they always acted so much fun, around large groups of people. And so, don't always assume that your extrovert friends are okay because, maybe sometimes they're struggling to interact with big groups of people, but they are performing or entertaining because it's part of their personality type. Aisha, can you guys see the little things with everybody's picture? Is that in your guys' way, or can you just see my screen?
We can just see your screen, but it
Just the
depends
screen.
on what everybody's individual settings are.
Okay, excellent. All right, thank you. Okay, so people skills, it feels like a huge topic. So where do I start? Again, thinking about having, some of our students, just so we can tell, could you guys put into chat if you have young listeners or if you have student listeners, just because I want to see. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Okay, that works. So if you guys hang in there with me, we'll be just fine. So this is true for adults and kids. We have all of these internal thoughts. Do you like me? I'll do whatever you want me to do. Should I try this? I don't really know what I need. When all of those internal thoughts come out to other people, they're like, what? It's very confusing, right? Because then they have their own internal thoughts as well. So just as we learned in the Kahoot, one of the first steps that really will solidify or help you begin to build your people skills is knowing what you want, knowing who you are, what your boundaries are, what you're willing to participate in, what you're not, and being able to communicate that effectively to other people. And then that will free up some space for you to be able to listen to other people and what they want, or for you to be able to help other people figure out who they are and figure out what they want. Because that is part of people skills, is gently and patiently listening to people and, the trajectory they think their life is going, or if they're having a difficult time, and just really either being a good listening ear or being able to help guide them towards some of their life's goals as well. This is especially really hard in our later elementary school years, our middle school years, our high school years, and then again in the workplace. It's really hard in the workplace to know what's expected of you from your boss, what's expected of you from your colleagues and your coworkers, and how to balance all of those expectations and personalities. It can be quite overwhelming. And so again, the more solidified you have your expectations of your future and your expectations of what you're willing to accept and not accept in communication styles and things of that sort, the more you'll find yourself being able to be around all different types of people. Alrighty, there's an excellent book for those of you who are parents that I definitely recommend. This is The 7 Habits of Happy Kids. Now, this comes from, a gentleman named Sean Covey, and he is the son of, oh my gosh, Stephen Covey, my brain. He's the son of Stephen Covey, and Stephen Covey wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So that's something that we're going to talk about tonight. This is 7 Habits for Kids, and I really like this because it helps us to incorporate these habits in our whole family as well. And the habits that you'll find in the adult book are the same exact as the ones I'll show you here. These are just in, kid-friendly terms, which can help all of us. All right, so volunteer time. I need somebody to read Habit 1, be proactive. You're in charge of yourself. I need someone to read those bullet points for me.
Can read them.
Go for it.
All right. Be proactive. I have a can-do attitude and always try my best at everything I do. I follow directions and do the right things without being asked, even when nobody is looking. I choose my actions, attitudes, and moods and don't blame others for my wrongdoing.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Being proactive and that part about I choose my actions, my attitudes, and my moods. I'm raising 3 6-year-old girls right now. I can guarantee you I don't necessarily always choose my mood. I should. That's my responsibility, right? But oftentimes my mood is impacted by other people. So what I try not to do is let them know that part of why I'm stressed out or part of why I'm overwhelmed is due to their behavior. What I can say to them is, you're acting like this because you want that. If you want that, how you can get it is ask for it like this. And so when I reframe it for them, most of the time they will say, oh, may I please have, another piece of gum or whatever. So that's a big thing too. I think, I don't know if it's generationally, but it's a big thing about not blaming others for my wrongdoing. So there's a big attitude for a long time about, oh, well, if the railroad hadn't laid me off, and if, I don't know, the company MCI hadn't gone under, and if, all these things. And it's like really these outside things in the world can impact us, but we're really responsible for our response to it. And we're responsible for keeping our power or giving it up. So part of those people skills of being proactive is having yourself set to the point where you can take a beat and take a minute and understand that you get to choose your reaction and you get to be in charge of your choices. Alrighty, I need another volunteer to read Habit 2, begin with the end in mind, have a plan.
I can do number 2.
Great, thanks.
Begin with the end in mind, have a plan. I plan ahead and set goals for myself. I am prepared at all times. I think about how the choices I make now will affect my future. I think about the positive or negative consequences of my actions before I act.
Excellent. So thank you for reading that. If you're someone at your job who plans ahead and sets goals and comes in most of the time prepared, and you're thinking, man, I'm in this position now, but I really want to get to this next position or the next position, you're going to be thinking about how your daily interactions can impact your future. And so we don't ever want to come at being a people person just for the sake of serving ourselves. So we don't ever want to feign or fake kindness or be kind in order to try to get something from someone. But it doesn't hurt at all to create connections and to create professional relationships with people who might currently be in the role that you would like to be in the future. Hey, could you tell me a little bit about your job? I've always found it interesting. You have to be prepared. Some people might find that threatening. If they aren't secure in who they are, if they don't know who they are, they might, what, you coming after my job? And you say, whoa, no, listen, I'm just interested, right? And what's your favorite part of your day? What do you like least about the job? And just really plan to elevate yourself to where you want to be eventually. And part of that is, thinking about your positive and negative consequences. If you have a negative impact on a coworker, and then in the future they're sitting on an interview board as to whether you should get this job that you really love, that could have a negative impact on your future. And so being mindful in those daily interactions will ultimately help you have a say in what your future looks like. All right, I need a volunteer for habit number 3, please.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Put first things first. Work first, then play. I do the things that I have to do before I do the things that I want to do. I stay focused on what I'm doing. I try to minimize distractions and regroup if I get off task. I spend my time on the things that are the most important.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Is your name Penny or is your mom's name Penny?
My mom's name is Penny.
Okay, what's your name?
Ashlyn.
Ashlyn, that was beautiful reading. I really appreciate it. Ashlyn, is it easy to do the things that you have to do before the things you want to do? Is that easy?
Not really for me. As a 5th grader, it's kind of hard because, I'm kind of tempted to do things that I want to before I do things that I need to. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And Ashlyn, I'm actually a 5th grade teacher at Audubon Elementary, and I see it all day long, especially you guys have computers now. Yeah. So it's super tempting to go on and listen to music or do something other than Schoology or other than what you're supposed to do. Right.
That is very true.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. The great news, Ashlyn, and everybody else, is that this is in the adult book too, because that temptation, as Ashlyn so beautifully put it, doesn't go away when we become adults. You think you're going to become an adult and, a magic wand will go and you're like, oh, I'm always going to do the right thing when I'm an adult. Not. So sometimes I've said, oh, we've got to clean the house. And then I'm like, let's go get ice cream. Then we go get ice cream and then we come back and we want to have a little nap and we're cranky because then we have to clean the house. The girls are like, why didn't we clean the house before we go? So you wouldn't think maybe that doing the things you have to do before doing the things that you want to do would be a people skill. But imagine then when you get to go out in public or when you get to stay home with your family and do the things that you want to do, imagine how much more pleasant you'll be, how much more relaxed you'll be, how much more open you'll be to whatever's going to come next, and more flexible because you don't constantly have nagging in the back of your mind what you should have done instead. All righty. Think win-win. Man, I can think of some countries in this world that I would like to get in a room and show them these slides. So everybody can win. Can I have a volunteer, please?
All right, I'll be your volunteer.
Thanks, Derek.
What do you need?
Can you see the habit number 4 on your computer?
All right, habit number 4. I can problem solve when an issue comes up with another person. I think about what other people want and not just what I want. I am kind to others and try to think of ways to help everyone to be happy.
Great. Thank you, Derek.
Yep.
So either Derek or anybody else, can you think of a time maybe when you were able to problem solve at school, at work, in your family? Maybe just a quick thing of what the problem was and how you were able to help solve it to where the most amount of people could be happy with the solution?
One time we were all together at my parents' house with my grandma. Long story, don't toxic relationship with her, she's kind of a difficult person, but sense the energy in the room and everyone was kind of not enjoying themselves. So I just kind of took it upon myself to take care of grandma. What do you need, grandma? Do you need this, grandma? Do you need, and kind of just kept the peace, I guess.
Yeah. And Sarah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that example. So we can, as caregivers, make sure that other people are happy and that other people are having a better time. That's a great example. And Sarah, one thing that we'll talk about later that we have to be careful of if we're the type of people, if we have people skills where we tend to be givers and we tend to be empathetic, then we can get to the point where we're not being taken care of or we're not taking care of ourselves. And so, I love that you were able to take care of grandma. Family is so important, and then it kind of helped everybody have fun. And in the future, then you could pull a family member aside. Okay, look, I've been doing this for an hour. So you take over now. Thank you, and pass that baton so that you get to have some fun too. So that's a great example. Thank you of problem solving. All right, we just have a few more. Habit number 5. I need another volunteer, please.
I can
do it.
volunteer. Oh,
You can
Go
go.
ahead.
I'll do the next one.
okay.
Perfect. Look at you guys
Habit-
solving problems. You're doing it already. Go for it.
Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then be understood. Listen before you speak. I listen to others without interrupting. I raise my hand when I want to speak and I wait to be called on. I don't blurt out. I try to understand other people's views and feelings, even if they are different from my own.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Holly. So raise your hand if you've ever been in a group of adults and you wish you had a talking stick or a conch shell or something that people would pass around because one person is just, taking up all of the conversation.
see.
Right.
But we're in here just like this, but we can't see it. Okay.
Oops. And then I move the slide. There we go.
We'll do
So-
habit 7.
You what, sweetheart?
She wants to do habit 7.
Okay. Excellent. Perfect. Thank you. So this is so important, especially nowadays. We really struggle as people, and I can tell you as a teacher, the attention span piece is what's impacting our ability to listen to others without interrupting. I know when my girls are speaking to me, I have the bad habit of maybe texting somebody back on my phone, changing the channel for them on the TV, and then maybe looking at something on my work computer. And so I've learned to stop what I'm doing, make eye contact with them, because research actually shows that children from birth to about age 16, especially with the maternal figure or grandmother figure in their lives, if they're made eye contact with, they're going to feel more emotionally stable and secure in their adult lives than if they haven't. And so I've learned to stop, make eye contact with my girls, truly listen to what they're saying, and then reply versus cutting them off mid-sentence because I already know what they're going to say and telling them, no, you can't eat dessert till after dinner. And then they're like, I wasn't even going to say that. So not blurting out, waiting till others are done speaking to put in our thoughts and then truly listening to what they're saying. Did you have a question, Penny? Thanks for raising your hand.
No, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
That was a mistake.
You're fine. You're fine. So I think before we have Deanna, what's the name of is that your daughter? Okay, I think we had a volunteer who will do habit number 6 first, and then we'll let the Littners read 7.
Can you see me?
I don't, is this Jerry Ann Salvo speaking?
Yeah, that's my wife. I'm on her computer, but I'm Joe.
Okay. Oh, great, Joe.
I can't see, I see my name. I see her name, actually. But I don't know if you guys see me or not.
Yeah, we see just the placard with your name on it.
I don't know how to get it to go. I've been trying to do it, but paying attention too, but I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh, sure.
She left for a meeting, so I'm like, nah. Anyway,
Melissa,
I'm
do you
here.
have a thought of how to get him with the camera on?
I don't want to waste.
Did you try to go to the video icon and turn video on?
Boom! Thank you.
Yep.
I was afraid of messing it up.
Teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
Oh, has a hand. There it is.
All right, habit 6, synergize.
Synergize. Working together is better. I get along well with other people and work well in groups. I value the strengths of others and allow myself to learn from them. I know that by working together as a team, we can get more done and come up with better solutions than we can alone.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This is difficult, especially when there's a lot of different personalities and there's a lot of strong personalities. If we have a lot of strong personalities in a group, they all think they know best, and the extroverts are going to communicate, which is 3 people, and then the introverts, which are the other 3, are just going to sit quiet because maybe their idea isn't so good after all, or because they really don't care about having their idea heard, even though they know it's better, and they just don't feel like fighting to be heard, et cetera, et cetera. So, a great idea when you're leading groups, or a great idea when you're even in a group, is to come up with what are called group norms ahead of time. So these are group rules. And for those of you who are students who are listening, you guys can absolutely do this in your classroom too. So oftentimes in the classroom, when my kids are working in groups, they start fighting with each other. Well, I was going to do that, and I was going to do. Nope. We have a director who chooses who the next person is to speak. We have a timekeeper. We have a secretary who records the information down. We have a brainstorming session before we even get started, so everybody's ideas are heard right away. And so that works whether you're a student in the classroom or whether you're an adult with your colleagues. You can suggest, why don't we just brainstorm everybody's ideas? And then why don't we come up with some norms or some agreements before we continue to work in this group so that we can all stay focused on the solution. The other thing that's a great idea to do to become more of a people person when you're working in groups is to write the solution up. So if you're a student and your teacher has said, tell me about, the ways of what you would do to make somebody feel better if they get hurt on the playground, then you're going to write, how do we make people feel better if they get hurt on the playground? You write that at the top of your paper. That way, when it gets off task, you can bring everybody back to that question. And then as adults, if you're part of a project and your boss tells you we have to do this, this, and this, you're going to write down what the expectations are, from your boss. And that way, when people get off task, or if people try to start to take over it, you can focus everybody back on the solution. And that's called staying solutions based or solutions focused. Okay. All righty. Now we have
Eliza, we have a question in the chat from a single mom who says that she's extremely busy, and she was wondering if you have any tips on how to just stop, or how much time do they need, like making eye contact and focusing on the other people?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm also a solo mom. And so it's very difficult to make sure that because you're responsible for everything in the house, and you're responsible for all the income that comes in, and then also making sure you're taking care of, the souls. So it's a big deal. So what I've found are a few different things. We do monthly date days. And this means that either I get a babysitter or I ask a family member to be with 2 of my triplets, and then I take them out one at a time. It doesn't have to be the whole day. Sometimes it's like they each get 2 hours. And so we'll go to a park. It also doesn't have to cost money. We can go to a museum on the days that the Children's Museum lets you in free, things like that. And just spending that individual time with them has gone a long way in their behaviors. And I'm finding they're kinder to each other when they feel like their needs are being met. Once a month wasn't enough for them, understandably. So then I started implementing like date minutes. And so I'll set the timer for 10 minutes, and I just go into one of the bedrooms with one of my girls, and we read, we draw, we talk about their day, we do whatever they want for 10 minutes. And so, yeah, that takes 30 minutes of my day, but then they're going to bed feeling heard and seen, and that they've gotten to really just have that one-on-one bonding time. The other thing I did was quit doing everything myself. I was driving myself nuts. I was organizing their toys, picking up after them, laundry. So I started involving them in everything. parents, regardless of if you're single parents or together or grandparents, involve kiddos. And kiddos, if you're listening, do what your folks ask you to. Do the chores. And here's why. One day you're going to be out on your own and you're going to be like, I don't know how to start this washing machine. I have an interview. I don't know how to iron a dress or a suit. I don't know, et cetera, what to do. So for those of us who feel like good parenting means we do everything ourselves, wrong, because then we become terrible. We don't have those people skills, right? With our own kids who should be the most important, but often on whom we're the hardest because they're family, right? And so we aren't as mindful as we should be about how our people skills among our household. So have the whole family prep meals, cook meals together, have the whole family clean the house together. It might take a little longer, but in the long run, the adults are going to be less exhausted, less cranky, and just healthier people. So, alrighty. And then I think we had a volunteer for slide 7, habit 7.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, go for it. You've been so patient.
Balance is best. I take care of my body by eating right, exercising, and getting enough sleep. I balance my time between school, curricular activities, family, and friends. I'm always learning how to become better person.
Excellent reading. What's your name?
Elena.
Elena, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Elena, what do you think for you is maybe one of the most difficult things on the slide?
Balancing your time.
Balancing my time.
Yeah. Do you have a lot to do?
No.
You do too.
Maybe is your family busy and you have to learn how to get your stuff done and while they have to get their stuff done too?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. That happens. And you know what, Elena, that happens to us as adults too. And the more overwhelmed we feel and the more things we add and the more we say, sure, I'll help with that. Yeah, I'll come to that party. Sure, I'll take the lead on that project, hoping to get a raise. The more overwhelmed we get and the less we're able to balance our time. And then our people skills suffer because you know what, y'all, we're overwhelmed. We're cranky. We're exhausted. Maybe then every single thing that we add, we knock back a half an hour of sleep or 45 minutes of sleep or an hour. And then it just gets to the point where we're only sleeping 3 or 4 hours a day. Well, nobody's going to be effective in dealing with other people when they're not taking care of themselves. So sharpening the saw is just referring to that consistent practice of, when people want to lose weight, they're like, oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 3 months and I'm going to do it. But, no, but what if you consistently added one more vegetable to dinner than you were before? Or what if you consistently cut down from eating sugar 7 days a week to cut down to 5 days a week or whatever? So I tend to be kind of like an all or nothing personality type. And I have to remember that it's the daily consistent sharpening of the saw that's going to make those skills, the best they can be and help you become the best version of yourself. I know all of our helpers have done such a good job. Somebody put in the chat, great job, Elena. They're doing a great job. All righty. So that was a lot of information. I'm going to pause sharing just for a second. There we go. That was a lot of information. So does anybody have any questions about what we've gone over thus far, about any of the 7 habits? Shayna, did you have oh, no, that was just kidding. My cursor was like this on your picture. We good so far? Go ahead, please.
I have something about the last one, the balancing, but I think it could go into other ones too, because ultimately someone once told me the hardest word to say is a 2-letter word and it's no, right? So if it goes to like what you're saying, food, like saying no to the extra or the seconds or whatever, but then also saying no to, oh, I want to do one more thing. I'm going to just get one more thing done, right? And being able to say, no, these are my priorities. And so I'm going to have a list of 3, maybe to 7, and then the top ones, hit them first and say no to the others until they're done, right? So the priority of putting things first, right? Your vocation, or your parent or a wife or a husband, like that comes first, and then your child, and then, right, or your work or whatever but obviously, hopefully at home, they come first, right? They should get our best, not our seconds.
Yeah.
Anyway, no is a great word to be able to master.
Yes. Excellent. And it's Tonya. Is that how you pronounce it?
Tanya.
I'm sorry. Okay. Tanya.
No, that's okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So, absolutely. Part of the people skills, going back to that very first slide that I shared, like, what do you want me to do? What do I want? Who do I, I want you to like me. Right. And so, I was an only child. And so that meant my, like part of the way I've got here, y'all, it's not been pretty. It has not been pretty. It's been a road. And so I did a lot of things as a kid where I would experiment, or I would say something, I heard one of my parents say, and the kids would be like, what are you talking about? So I had to learn how to get along with my peers in a different way, because I hung out with adults my whole life. So I came at things from a very, adult-minded way, which kids just thought is weird. And so I had to kind of learn how to be a kid, like when I was in college, and again, not pretty. So anyway, the great news is, like I said from the beginning and on our Kahoot, you don't have to have, it's not that either you're born with the people skills or you're not. And it's like, oh, well, that person listen, I do too. Have we ever looked at a celebrity or looked at a friend or looked at a coworker or something, and they're outgoing and they're bubbly and everybody likes them, and they bring stuff when it's everybody's birthday, and they do and you're just like, whoa, I wish I could be that person, right? You don't have to be that person. You just have to be you. You have to work towards being the best version of yourself. And that's what's naturally going to boost your people skills. Okay. Oh, yes. I love that book, Angie. Go ahead. Sorry, Lisa, go.
Sorry.
No.
Do you feel that birth order also affects people skills? Because I only ask because, like, I'm the middle. I have a brother on top and a sister on the bottom, but I'm the most outgoing and with the most people skills. But I feel like it's because I'm the middle. And I feel like, my brother was always busy, or my parents were with my sister, so I had to communicate. So I was just wondering if you felt or saw anything with birth order having to do with better or worse people skills.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think it definitely, there's that book that talks about birth order, and we can look it up and I can share it. I think absolutely. I think any family dynamic, right? So again, me being an only child, I had to learn a different skill set of people skills than people who my girlfriend had 8 siblings. I was so envious. And she was like, can I come to your house where it's quiet? So absolutely. I think that, I have an 18-year-old son and a 15-year-old son. And so they had their first and second kid birth order. Then I had the triplets. So now my 15-year-old feels like a middle child. Right. But then the oldest triplet feels like an oldest child and a middle child, so absolutely. I think it can impact, but like I said, fortunately, it's not a fixed thing. It's not either you have it or you don't, you can communicate or can't. We can always read books and practice and come to professional development and learning developments and stuff like that. So yeah. And Angie put a great recommendation for a book about boundaries that I'll give you guys the title to as well, because I've read it and it's amazing. All righty. We're going to give our younglings, our Padawans, for those of us who are nerds, we're going to give our Padawans some ideas about in the classroom and at home, maybe how you can practice those people skills and become the type of person that you want to be in your family. So think about the role that you might play now in your family, and think about how when you communicate, it makes your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, dad, your aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, your pets, because pets will tell you the truth. So think about how you act, and then think about what role you want in your family. Do you want to be a leader who says, whoa, we don't need to argue. It's just TV. Why don't we do 30 minutes of this show? And then when it's over, we can switch to this other show. Okay. So that's a leader. That's a problem solver. Do you want to be a caregiver who fills people's water bottles when they're low and they don't even know yet they need more water, and boom, you've done it for them? Okay. Or do you want to be the agitator where you're just worried about what you can get out of the family and you're going to whine and complain and be as loud as you can until you get it? And who cares what everybody else needs in that moment? You guys, you have the opportunity at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old and beyond to make that choice about who you want to be in that family. You don't have to be exactly who your parents are. You do have to listen to your parents. You don't have to be the type of person that your parents are. You get to be your own person. And so you get to choose how you want to present yourself in your family. And it's a daily choice. And it's okay if sometimes we choose wrong, because we get to choose correctly the next day. Let small injustices and wrongs pass. My girls, she took my hairbrush and it moved the doll and it right. And I'm like, friends, let's take a deep breath and take a step back. Okay. So if it's something small, now, if it's something small over time and one of your siblings is constantly doing you wrong, make sure your family knows about it. Okay. Because that's not okay for that to go on, for a long time. Okay. You guys can do at least one kind thing a day in your household without bringing attention to it. I empty the dishwasher. Hey, I emptied the dishwasher. You can just empty it. And then it's a really cool feeling when your parent comes in and is like, what? Who emptied the dishwasher? You're like, well, since you asked, it was me. And then you get an extra scoop of ice cream or something. And then, but don't expect it. Don't do it for the ice cream. Just do it to be a good person. Okay. And then to assert your needs means to put forth your needs, to tell that you have a need, not screaming, not demanding, but saying, I really need this in this moment, or tomorrow, I'm going to really need this. And take space when you need it. The best thing is I've set up cool down spots all over my house. And so my girls can go to all different parts of the house when they just need room away from each other or me. I'm lovely. I don't see why they would ever need time away from me. Yes. New Beginning says, don't use your skills for the dark side. I love it. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Other teens were annoying. Yep. And still learning people skills. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. So that's absolutely accurate, that we're just learning all along. So, oh my gosh, y'all, these kids growing up right now are incredible. So, Christina, do you mind if I share?
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. So, Christina just put in the chat that her 8 and 6-year-old seem to have more skills, than she might. It's so cool. And I have to tell you, it's only a certain number of schools, like my school is, but that are doing the random acts of kindness. Most of them are doing, at least in the Pikes Peak region, most of them are doing some sort of social emotional learning program with the kids. And I've got to tell you, it is the coolest thing, because when they say the children will lead, man, just the way these kids' brains work at these ages. And I don't know if they just spent so much time, we all spent so much time together. I don't feel like we had the best people skills when we were on quarantine for a year, but I'm just saying these kids are really cool. So if you just stop and watch and listen, to certain kids in your household or your neighborhood or something, they're really doing incredible things. So yeah, great. Somebody put that their room is like their safe space, or their space they can just cool down. That's awesome. All right, here's how to people at school. Stay safe and establish your no items. No, you can't borrow this pencil. This is my favorite pencil. Please ask someone else or go get a pencil from the teacher. It's okay to say that. You don't have to give away your most prized favorite birthday pencil, because when you get older, that means you let somebody borrow a dress, or you let them borrow a pair of shoes, or you let them drive your car when you don't really want to. Okay. So learn early to set your healthy boundaries. Get help from an adult immediately and repeatedly, because sometimes adults don't listen. If an individual or a group is hurting you, threatening, coercing, don't say bullying. Do not go up to a teacher and say, he's bullying me. You want to know how many times a day a teacher hears that? Don't say bullying, kids. Say someone's threatening me. Someone's threatening me harm. Someone's intimidating me. Someone isn't respecting my boundaries. Be very specific about what someone is doing to you, because those key phrases will alert adults that it's more than just you guys bickering and not getting along. Okay. Again, I already told you about, you can set norms in your classroom group work, and then set those expectations in writing and stay solutions based. And then the best thing you guys get to do, some in elementary school, we're getting better at it. And then in middle school and high school, join interest groups and join clubs with people who will be like-minded to you, with people who are interested in the same thing you are. And that way you're going to get to practice developing people skills in a safe space with people who kind of dig or like jive on same things that you like. And then the best thing you can do to be a good person and to develop your people skills are choose to sit or walk around at recess with someone who's alone all the time. I had a gal at the beginning of the school year, and she's a 5th grader, and she just would walk alone at recess all the time. And one of my other students, only about the 2nd or 3rd day, said, "Hey, I'm going to go walk with so-and-so because I noticed she walks around alone all the time. Do you think she wants to?" And I said, "I don't know, but I bet you could go ask her and find out." And she did. And now the first student isn't walking alone anymore. Now they made a friendship. So you never know who you can become friends with just because they may be a little too shy or a little too insecure to ask anybody to come be with them or to approach a group of people. That's intimidating, to approach a group of people, and ask them to be friends. Okay. All right, we're going to do more participation. I love it. You guys are doing such a great job reading. Okay, I want students mostly to read these, but adults can help too. So I need somebody to read teamwork. Read me oh, I'm so sorry. So these are phrases that you can use to boost your people skills. Are we ready? This is awesome. Okay, so if I can get a kiddo to volunteer, if not.
I can read teamwork.
Great, thank you.
Let's stay focused on solutions and our specific jobs so we can succeed.
Perfect. So, I mean, man, at this party last weekend, you're never going to guess what happened and blah, blah, blah. And you're in a group and you're having to listen to the personal lives of the other 5 people. And you really just want to get your assignment done so that you can get a passing grade because your grades matter to you. Hey, why don't we stay focused on solutions and our specific jobs so we can succeed? And if they laugh at you and blow you off, you do all the work yourself and turn it in with just your name on it. And that's okay. All right. I need somebody to read leadership, please.
Okay, here, take this one. We can read leadership.
Thank you.
Wait, what?
What if we tried this way?
Great. So people are like, "Oh, that's not going to work." And you were going to do and pointing fingers and, "Hey, we can't do that." Hey guys, listen, what if we tried it this way? So that's not saying do it my way. You're not listening to me, right? It's just, what if we tried it this way? Motivation. So this is talking to ourselves, and we're in front of the mirror every morning. We're building ourselves up. Oh yeah, you got this. You can do it today. You got it. Okay. And then you sit back on the couch and you're like, "Oh, but I forgot I have to clean my room first." Who can read motivation? Do you guys
We can read it.
I saw your hand. Thank you so much. Go for it.
You can't.
You don't.
You don't want to do this now, but your future self will thank you.
Wonderful. Would you tell me your name?
Tell your name.
Drea,
Drea, that was wonderful reading. How old are you?
7.
You are 7 and you read that well. I'm so proud of you. You must have a good family who taught you how to read, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Nice job, Drea. I'm proud of you.
Thank
All right.
you.
You're welcome. So we all know that there's things we don't want to do. It goes back to that habit of, doing the things that you need to get done before the things that you want to do. Okay. All right. Responsibility. Another volunteer. And I see Angie, but will you tell me your name?
Elijah. I'll do it.
Is it Elijah who's with Angie?
Yes.
Okay, we'll let Elijah go first real quick, and then I heard another volunteer. We'll take you next, okay? Go for it, Elijah.
Responsibility, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I really want to do that with you, but I'm
going to get my chores done real quick first.
Oh, Elijah, of course you are, because Elijah is responsible. So Elijah's like, oh, Minecraft or Fortnite, that sounds really good. But you know what? I'm going to go get my chores done real quick first, because Elijah knows he's going to have more fun doing whatever his friends want him to do, or whatever he wants to do with his mom or his dad or whomever, if he actually is responsible and gets his work done first. All right, dependability. Who was our next volunteer, I heard?
I was.
Okay, tell me your name.
Ashlyn again.
Ashlyn again. Yes, perfect. Ashlyn, read dependability.
Dependability. Maybe next time. I promised my mom I would help with my brother today.
Wonderful. That is so hard. Your friend gets a new toy or a new journal or a new bike and wants you to come play with them. And you want to do it so bad, but you have to say, maybe next time. I promised my mom I would help my brother today. Or, personally, I'm a teacher. And so Friday night, teacher friends are like, let's go here, teacher friend. And I say, oh, Friday nights are movie night with my girls, So being dependable and showing up, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's at school, whether it's in your family, if your family can depend on you, that makes them trust you more. That makes them respect you more and appreciate you more. All right, empathy. This is a phrase to start building empathy. Again, not just that we can say, oh, I feel sorry for you, that's too bad, but we can think, oof, how would I feel if I was in that situation?
We'll read it.
Thank you. Tell me your name again.
Elena.
Elena, yep, thank you. Go for it.
That must be so difficult. How can I help?
Wonderful. You guys, you kids are way better at empathy than us adults. You know why? As adults, we're so overwhelmed by our own stuff, and we've got it in our heads that, oh, I'm too busy to help. That's one of the worst phrases that ever came into humanity. I'm too busy to help. So when we see a solo parent, or we see a two-parent family, or see whatever, we see anyone struggling, instead of just asking to help, gosh, what you're going through must be awful. What can I do to help you? We make judgments. Well, if that person wouldn't have A, then they wouldn't be in B situation. Ooh, look at how their kids are dressed. Don't they even look at their kids and brush their hair before they leave their house? Blah, 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 blah. No, y'all, as adults, you want to change the world? Increase your empathy. You want to build your people skills? Increase your empathy. The second you go to a judgment, you stop and you say to yourself, I don't know what's going on in their situation, and I don't know how I would feel if I did. So if I'm able to, in my moment, maybe I can go, hey, is there anything I can do to help you right now? And they might go, no, that's okay. But the best thing we can do is just say, kids, what do kids do? A kid falls down on a playground, they run out and help them. Then I go, well, I told you not to climb those monkey bars like that, and I told you not to go up. No, just help. Just help. Okay, I'm done. Sorry. Flexibility. Who can read flexibility?
Sorry. Yeah, I can.
Hi, thank you. Tell me your name.
Skylar.
Skylar. Excellent. Would you read flexibility for us?
I've never tried it that way, but I'm open to it.
Great. Skylar, what do you think being open to something, what would that mean?
Flexibility.
It's okay to say I don't know too if you don't know. That's no big deal.
Trying something new?
Great. Absolutely. So I've never tried riding my bike that way, but I'm open to it. You don't even necessarily have to say that to somebody. You can just think it to yourself. Give me a little shout out or whatever if you guys watch that Luca movie. Anybody seen that Luca movie where it's the two boys and they're really sea creatures, but then they become people when they're on land? And
I've
one
seen
thing,
it.
have you? Yeah. Hey, tell me your name, because you read before and I forgot to ask your name.
Chase.
Chase. Excellent, Chase. So Chase, what is the one kid when he wants the other kid to ride down the really scary hill and the kid's like, no, I don't want, what does he tell him to say no to in his brain?
Fear?
Yeah, to say no to fear, right? to say no, and they call it Bruno, okay? No, silencio Bruno, right? Silencio Bruno, okay? Now, sometimes Bruno is there for a reason in your brain and he's telling you, whoa, don't do that. Okay, so that's valid. But sometimes we have to just push that fear aside, like Chase said, and we have to just be willing, and open to doing something that you've never tried.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chase.
Yep.
All right. Patience. Who can read patience for me?
I can read it.
Okay, thanks, Chase.
I got that.
I understand you're upset. Please tell me what you need.
Great. Man, oh my gosh, Chase, say that again. That was beautiful.
I understand you're upset. Please tell me what you need.
My gosh, you all, again, if we just with each other. I heard this on the radio. I can't remember what station. Might have been the like 102.7, the Christian station. But it said, this gal was speaking and she said her kid was having a tantrum and a meltdown. And so instead of trying to, here, you can have a cracker, you can have cheese, you can have and he just started and screaming louder, everything she suggested. She finally just looked at him and said, dude, what do you need? And he's like, I just need you to rock me. And she was like, oh my gosh, I can rock you. Okay. Let's do this with each other, right? I understand you're upset. Please tell me what you need. Again, that goes back to instead of making a judgment about how somebody feels because they're upset, just be there to help. Just ask what they need. And Chase did it in such a kind, genuine way. You have to be genuine. Now, sometimes as a parent, it might be, I understand you're upset. Please tell me what you need. Okay, that's okay. It can be like that too, and it'll still work. Okay. All right. Last one last volunteer here.
Oh, we'll do it.
Wonderful. Go for it.
I hear you're saying repeat the words of the other person says. Could you explain that to me?
Wonderful. And tell me your name once more.
What's your name? Abraham.
Oh, Abraham. So you're a new reader. Great. Abraham, that was excellent reading. What grade are you in?
5th.
Okay. Oh, I love my 5th graders. Woo woo. Cool. Thank you so much, Abraham, for reading. So, okay. I hear you saying that you want to borrow my bike. I've told you no, and now you're mad. Could you explain that to me? Well, yeah, dude, I just really want to borrow your bike. Okay, but it's my property, and I've told you not right now, because the last time you rode your bike, you said Silencio Bruno, and you rode it down a really steep hill, and you crashed your bike. So no, man, you're not going to borrow my bike, okay? Maybe sometime when I see you're a little more responsible with your bike, right? You guys, you have to remember when you're kids, but then especially as we move into adulthood, people will get angry with you if you say no. That's on them. That just means that maybe they haven't honed their skills yet and sharpened their saw as to how they should reply when they hear no. Okay. So if you set a healthy boundary and you say, no, I'm not comfortable with that, and someone gets angry with you or threatens you or says, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. How many times have we heard that even as adults? Okay. Well, it's cool. It's fine. We don't need to be friends anyway. Well, I guess if you're not going to respect my boundaries, we don't. And it's not that it doesn't hurt, but it's that we have to build people around us who are going to respect us. Okay. All right. I think, yep. Excellent. All righty. Students, you did an awesome job. Can we give really an active applause for our students? I think, my goodness, you all are raising incredible people. They just did a great job. If it is okay with your families, this student portion of the presentation is done. Is there anything that any of the students have questions about that I can answer?
Is there any other examples we could use for classroom or for home?
That's a great question. Yeah, thank you, Chase. I was thinking about it as I was putting the slide together. I didn't want to overwhelm. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to create what's called like a one pager. And it's just going to have different social situations on it. And then maybe some responses that you can give to help you be a leader or to help motivate people or stuff like that. So thank you for that idea. That's great. So I'll put that together and then I'll send it to Miss Melissa, and then she'll put it out to everybody who attended the session.
I have a question.
Sure.
So about working in school with groups, I needed some more information to help me with that, because sometimes I get a little frustrated with my group, especially when they're not like people that I really know about.
Okay, so working in a group with new people, right?
Look at mommy. Let you, mommy.
Great. Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the very first things that you want to do is have everybody, like on a sticky note, write their names and put it on their desk. Because right away, using someone's name in an interaction makes them feel more comfortable with you and makes them feel like they can trust you. And especially when your teacher is like, so I have all of these Uno cards on my desk. So I'll be like, okay, all the ones go in a corner. Well, what the heck? What if you don't know 4 of the other people of the ones, right? Then you're all standing there just nervous, okay? So writing down, or at least starting off the group time with saying each other's names. Even if you've been in school this long, I have kids who don't know each other's names. So we practice names every day, okay? And so then after saying the names, do what I had said about giving jobs. Say, is there somebody who could watch the clock and let us know when we have like 5 minutes left so we don't go over time? And somebody, yeah, I'll do it. And if nobody will do it, then you say, Johnny, will you watch the clock for us and tell us when we have 5 minutes left? If he says no, that's okay. You just maybe ask somebody else, okay? So this is where you get to go into the groups and you get to be a leader and try some of these things out.
Okay, thanks.
Did that help a little bit?
That did.
Okay. And if you guys want to agree on who can be the discussion director too, then they'll get to point to each person whose turn it is to speak. So that way everybody gets a turn. And then don't forget to brainstorm right at the beginning, where you write down everybody's ideas right away. And then you guys decide how you're going to present those ideas out.
Good idea. Thanks.
Cool. Sure. All right. Before we let the kiddos go, any other questions?
I have a question. So like, do you have anything, if we, run into something bad in school?
So bad meaning unsafe, or bad meaning unkind, or bad meaning opposite of what you know is the right thing to do?
Like opposite of the right thing to do.
Okay. All right. And sometimes do you tell your teacher and your teacher maybe doesn't get that he or she needs to help? Okay. So if it's somebody being unsafe, like physical with you, like putting their hands on you or trying to throw something at you, you're going to get away from them as fast as possible. And you're going to keep telling your teacher over and over and over until they may get annoyed with you. They may say, just go sit down, and say, I can't. Someone is hurting me, hitting me, throwing things at me. When you say those specific actions of what someone else is doing, it helps a teacher understand that it's not that you're just fighting with somebody, that someone's truly being unsafe. Okay? So if it's somebody being unsafe, I would start there. And then if your group is having trouble listening, my girls are going to be 7 in May. And guess what? They're a little group of friends that they're with at their tables in their classroom. They're not listening to each other right now. And so my girls are going to start practicing saying, when nobody listens to each other and everybody's shouting at everybody, it makes me want to cry, or it makes me sad inside. So you can even take a sticky note and give somebody a sticky note. And then that person who has the sticky note, it's their turn to talk. And then when they're done talking, they pass the sticky note to somebody else. Does that help at all?
Yeah.
Okay. But if it's unsafe, you be very specific. You tell exactly what the person is doing, and then you keep saying it over and over and over until an adult pays attention. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Tell me your name.
Skylar.
Skylar. Okay, Skylar, here's what happens. When you guys are talking, it doesn't always pop up. So I didn't get to see your beautiful face while you were reading. So thanks for your patience. You did a great job, Skylar. Alrighty, so adults, feel free to stretch, grab water. We've done a lot of information so far. Do whatever self-care you need to. Come back in about 3 minutes. So that would be like, roughly 7:17. And then we're going to do a breakout room. I will say this again and put it in the breakout room, but you can be thinking while you're taking your time. What do you perceive as preventing you from having good people skills? So what do you perceive as preventing you from having good people skills? That's what you're going to talk about in breakout rooms when you come back. All right, I'll see you in 3 minutes. Ready, set, go.
How many people do you want in each room?
I had 9, or I had it divided up by 45 participants.
Okay, so
I had 9 breakout rooms.
9, 5 in each room.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can you please repeat that question again before you send us?
Yes. So you're going to think about what you perceive prevents you from becoming a people person or practicing good people skills. So what you perceive prevents you from becoming a people person.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, I'm going to step away super quick and I will be right back.
Okay, the breakout rooms are ready when you get back, so
You're an angel.
I try.
Okay, we are back, and you should get an invite to go into a breakout room. Go ahead and do that, and then I will post in the breakout rooms the question that you are discussing. So go ahead and accept the invite and click yes to go into a breakout room when you're invited. Thank you. Did you guys get an invitation, or am I in? Oh, just kidding. Hello. I'm sorry. Delia, did you get an invitation? No.
I did not.
We're working on it. Are you able to see Delia? Okay.
I don't see an invite.
I think Aisha's working on it.
Okay, there it is.
Cool. Thank you. Heather, are you there?
It looks like there's two of her.
Oh, okay. Maybe she has a student or something.
Yeah, because it looks like she's in room 6.
Perfect.
Well, now she's
There
gone.
should be a way. I tried to look on my screen, but I don't see it because I don't think I'm a moderator of the meeting. There should be a way to send a message to all of the breakout rooms. And if we could just send the question of what do you perceive prevents you, excuse me. I'll put it in the chat. How about that? So it's actually right.
Is it broadcast message?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do that one. Do you want me to send it, or do you have the question? Look at me practicing social skills, people skills, unmuting. Welcoming everybody back from their breakout rooms. I'm going to type, and then I'll share the screen so you can see what we're typing. But I would love to hear just some examples of people who are willing to share out, some examples of what you feel maybe prevents you from being sociable or a people person or practicing people skills. What do you feel like sometimes prevents you from doing that? Go for it. You can put in the chat if you're more comfortable, or you can just share out.
I'll share out if that's okay. It was 5 of us in our group. We all had different things that we talked about, which I thought was great. But we all kind of agreed on different things with the head nods and stuff. But I was just saying, from working with people with our business, doing a lot of community work, doing events, and being able to be one body ENT, we have to be able to have people skills. But a lot of that is kind of messed up, because I was just saying the follow through. A lot of people don't follow through on what they say they're going to do. And it makes it really hard for us to be able to trust, and it messes up for other people too, because it's like you're so leery on who's going to have the right people skill to do what they're supposed to do in conversations and events, and just being able to work in the community in a positive way. So I just feel like my people skills get a little twisted when it comes down to people who can't function and follow through on what they say they're going to do. And it makes me sad because I don't want to shut people down or cut them off, but it's only so much you can do with that. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And would you tell me your first name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Great, Jennifer. Thank you so much. It's so true. And the key part that you said is just that lack of trust. One thing that I'll show you on the slide in a minute is I have been burned in the past. Okay. So whether it was in a romantic relationship or a work relationship or friends or whatever, when we're burned, by somebody, we're then unfortunately, mistrusting or distrusting of others as well. And so that's where some of those phrases that I'll send are going to help so much. Dear so-and-so, in an email, I really was excited for our partnership and I really was excited for our working relationship. We agreed that I would be responsible for this part and you would be responsible for this part. Unfortunately, you failed to deliver on your part, for whatever reason, and we hope everything's okay. But at this time, unfortunately, we can't, move forward in a partnership with you until, you're at a place where you can follow through with or come through with what you promised, and nowadays it's the most twisted thing. But when you're assertive, people perceive it as aggressive. When you are clear with someone about, look, you didn't do what you said you were going to do, well, that makes that person feel bad. Right. Good. That's the point. We should feel bad when we've made a commitment and we don't follow through. And that's how we're designed. Okay. So yes. So this whole idea of escaping feeling bad when we're the one who caused a situation is so doing such an injustice to our society. So, I commend you for setting those boundaries as far as, maybe not working with people and say that, it saddens me to have to do this, but we're not going to be able to work with you until you can deliver on what you promised. All right. Who else wants to share?
Eliza, we have some responses in the chat.
Great.
Some are fear of judgment, feeling like they have to be perfect, fear of confrontation, trying to avoid conflict because being a people pleaser, and then just being tired as parents.
I destroyed that window.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so sorry. So I got perfectionism, fear of judgment, people pleasing. I think there was one in between there I missed.
Not wanting confrontation, not conflict, and then just being tired as parents.
I get it. Yep, absolutely. Thank you. And we'll go through these when I can show you guys the slide as well. Anybody else who wants to share out outside of the chat?
Our group was all moms, and 2 of them are military spouses. I missed what one of them was, but I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was the exhaustion from the mental, physical, emotional end of your day. You come home to your kids and family after you've been communicating all day outside of work or at work, coming home and then trying to communicate with your kids and not coming off as short or abrupt. One of them touched base on how she's might have to re-explain something to somebody 3-4 times because they're not getting it, and you don't want to come off again as not being polite or I use the term, you don't want to look like a crazy person because you get upset with them because you feel like they're not listening.
Mm-hmm.
One of them touched base on how she's an overthinker. She thinks ahead. So to turn off the overthinking, she doesn't always look at somebody straight in the eye, which makes that she worries that she's kind of ignoring the other person she's talking to because she's trying to focus on something else. And the other person, the main thing was like, we're sometimes too little butter scraped over too much bread, you know. That's a Tolkien reference if you want to nerd back, but
I love that. I don't know how I've never heard that in my life so far. I love this. I'm writing it down. Too little butter spread over too much. That's amazing. Excellent. Yes, and I will speak to all of this. Thank you so much for sharing. Excellent. All righty. Anybody else? Yeah, please.
This is Tanya. There were 4 of us, and we didn't get what we all had, but one has foster children as well as her own, and then a gentleman and another woman. And it was fear of, well, not fear. It was actually being in the shadows of others. We talk about how the importance of that is good because those who are the leaders need the gifts from those who are in the shadow, right? But not wanting to take the credit. And so how that's a true gift. And then the other one of the women said that she really found herself hearing people, but not hearing what they were really saying, right? Like, so hearing what they said, but didn't actually comprehend what they were saying. And I'm sorry, Jeff, I can't remember exactly what yours was, but it was something about he's typically doesn't like to be out in the open with everybody and be assertive. And I said, I'm assertive and I tend to be judgmental. So then I'll like shut somebody down and then saying back to what one body Ent said, you know, I can't stand it when people say they're going to do something and then they don't. And I don't have no empathy. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Come on. So anyway, that was ours. Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's such hard balance, right? Between, Jennifer sharing somebody not doing something, which then doesn't even just only impact her, but their business partners or their community or whomever they're trying to volunteer to help, So it's so hard in being empathetic, but we also still have to set those boundaries, So we'll go into, you guys are unpacking some really great stuff. Any other groups? I think we had 1 or 2 more groups maybe.
So in our group, that conversation doesn't mean confrontation. I think several of us agreed with and liked that. And a couple of the people also talked about being very nice with their words. And then it can be hard when you're trying to discuss something that people then feel like you're being confrontational when all you want to do is discuss.
Excellent. And that's, I loved Chase's question about, are you going to have more phrases? Because I think sometimes we just don't know what to say because we're tired or overwhelmed ourselves. And so conversation versus confrontation, and then emotions get involved. Whew. Boy, oh boy, we talk about certain things in my household. We have safe words, right? If it's politics or it's ideas about people, we sure have safe words. So, I think it's just human nature. It's good that we connect our emotion to what we're seeing and hearing and experiencing. That's good. That means we're not sociopaths. Okay, so that's great. So then it's just a matter of, I'm going to go into a little bit, but we have what's called our reptile brain, and that's like our fight or flight. So we hear something and we automatically either want to fight with it, an idea or a comment, or we want to run away from it, or we freeze. We don't know how to react to it, so we don't say anything, which then we feel is giving the other person like permission or almost agreeing, making them feel like we're agreeing with what they're saying when we don't, but we're kind of frozen because we don't know how to reply. And so, again, just putting together a lot of those phrases that I'll send out, like, you've given me a lot to think about and I need some time to process it. Can I get back to you in about 24 hours? Or I hear what you're saying, but I don't know that I understand what you're saying. Can you give me just a moment to get some water and think about what you've just said? I think we do ourselves a disservice Everything is now in this society. We get a text message, we have to respond now, or it's rude. We get a phone call, we have to answer it. We get an email, we have to answer it. It's not true. It's not true. We can give ourselves, time and space to reply, which is being responsible. It's being dependable. It's working in a team, is knowing when to say, this is a lot. I just need to take a little space, but you're important to me and what you're saying is important. That's why I'm going to take a moment to step back and make sure I really understand what you're saying. And again, my friend sent me something that in the 1600s, an average vocabulary was around 2,800 words, and that nowadays our average vocabulary is around 97. So we don't communicate. We talk, we text, we don't communicate the way that we used to communicate. And we don't have to be like Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy and go into all these huge, long things, right? When it's like, do you want to have a picnic with me? But we need to get back to effectively communicating, where we're really clarifying the intention, of the interaction. All right, let me go ahead. Is there anybody else? I don't want to miss anybody. Is there anybody else who didn't get to share yet?
I would just say what you just said about, I think a lot of times we talk at people and not talk to people, and we're not really actively listening like they were saying. And also somebody was saying in the chat that the COVID took away a lot of our people skills, and we just, we have to relearn everything. So.
Yeah. Well, and so, it's easy to take, COVID was impactful. Okay. It definitely had an impact on us, but we don't want to stay there, right? We don't want to stay stuck with that. So I think it's so wise to say, this is what happened, but now we get to choose, especially all this time later, what we're going to do about it. And not that it's not still around, we get it, but nothing again out here really has control over how we respond to it in our heart, in our mind. It can influence and impact. There were definite financial hardships and emotional hardships with losing people. And that's all impactful. That it would do a disservice to the experience to say that that's not going to change you somehow. But luckily you get to decide, what you're going to, if that change is going to be negative or if you're going to drive the change. And so sharpening our saws, we lost the ability to sharpen our saws because we were just emailing and texting and maybe calling, but like I'm from the 80s, so somebody calls now and I'm like, what are you doing calling me? Did you call me on purpose or? All right. I want to show you guys your brilliance. Excellent. Okay, great. So, one thing I wrote down that's a little bit heavier is just childhood or adult abuse or trauma. So, I was thinking about definitely the family with foster kids. Just if you've been through the family court system, my gosh, that's a special kind of trauma. And they're doing their best. It's just a system and they're doing their best. But if as a kid, your parents lacked people skills or I love my parents to death. They were a bit socially awkward and I can be super socially awkward. And so they didn't really work though or maybe they didn't know how to sharpen their saws, right? And so a lot of these things that I learned, it was outside of my household because I wanted to be different. So if you're a parent, take a deep breath. Our mistakes are going to teach our kids as much as our perfections. Our mistakes are going to teach our kids as much as the things we do well, sometimes more. They're going to look at it and go, oh, I didn't like how that made me feel, or I didn't like what I saw, so I'm going to do better. I'm going to do different. That's okay. That's great. So we can be really afraid of people. I went through a long time after, this was like 12 years ago, but after a pretty intense divorce, I went through a long time. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get into a lot of personal, but just there were other people who chose to engage with the person I was formerly married to and would confront me at the grocery store, or, hey, I heard you said this to so-and-so and that's messed up. And, there were different words used. So it was true. The fear was true and real that there were people coming at me who were strangers to me that I didn't know. So therefore, people-wise, I shut down. I was going to protect my children and I was going to protect myself. And I didn't let anybody new in my life. If I didn't know somebody 25 years, you were not talking to me. So I came out of that through counseling, and I came out of that through asking for help and setting boundaries. But it's actually very real when you go through trauma, or if your childhood was abusive or traumatic, you're not going to be as quick to trust people. You're just not. And that's ingrained from a young age. The great news is that's not fixed. It doesn't have to stay that way. Counseling, programs like this, learning different strategies to use, stuff like that. You can use all of that, to learn to do better and be different. The conversation versus confrontation, again, absolutely. Assertive people nowadays are just, because we're losing our ability to effectively communicate and to be emotionally secure and stable while we are, any assertion or any confidence is going to come across as conflict. So that's a societal issue that when I send out that one pager with phrases, if you start using these phrases with people, you'll learn that they're going to start being more trusting, with you when you're interacting with them. Poor self-image or insecurities, being a people pleaser. I want you to like me, so I'm going to act a certain way. So these are all things, being overwhelmed, goodness knows. I feel that. And these are all things that keep us from being the best versions of ourselves. And then we definitely aren't going to be, in good service to others. Yes, Carl, electronics, if we don't control them. So everybody talks about it's the electronics. Well, they have a power button. So we're still the people who get to decide how much TV we watch a day, how much social media our kids are on, if they're on it independently, or if we're monitoring their interactions, et cetera. So the good news is we get to be in charge and control it. I just wanted to go through super quick. Yeah. Oh, totally. Fear of not being accepted. That's so true. And I'm going to give you guys some books that you can read that are going to help with that, because once you become a whole person and you become really secure and confident in who you are, it lessens the fear of being rejected. And you figure out that rejection has less to do with you and more to do with the other person asserting their right to share boundaries and their right to say no, or their right to know what they want for themselves and don't want for themselves. Once I figured that out, I was, in my late 20s before the girls, but I was like, oh my God, if I would have known this when I was dating people, that would have totally opened up a whole world for me. It's not that they're doing they can tell me that they love me and also later decide they don't want to date me. That's okay, because I told them I love them, and maybe sometime I would decide I didn't want to date them. It's okay. You're figuring out what you want in your life and what you don't, and what direction you're both going in, and yada, yada. Okay, so for the sake of time, I want to just go through the next few things, and then I promise you I will go through each one of these concerns and these very real reasons why sometimes we are hesitant to become somebody who's a people person. And I will share with you the phrases that are going to help you guys work through it. But these books absolutely too are going to help. Alrighty, so yes. So first, before I get into the books real quick, I want to share with you, if you practice self-discovery, learn as much as you can about yourself. The first thing is called a Myers-Briggs personality test. Raise your hand if you've ever done the Myers-Briggs. Okay. Cool, excellent. So I'm going to show you, oh, come on, friend. Here's where I try to remember some of my teaching online days when it won't let me see all my screens. Sorry, one moment. Stop and go to that page. Here we go. Thanks you so much for your patience. This is where your empathy comes in. Come on, she's an online presenter. Doesn't she have it together? The answer is some days. That's my answer. Okay, here's the big thing. Oh, en español. That's excellent. Okay, perfect. Doesn't matter. So there's different letters if you're not familiar with it. So there's ENTJ, extrovert, intuitive, thinking, judging, not being judgmental, but discerning, making judgments about things. INTJ is introverted, but intuitive and thinking and judging, and introverted and sensing and thinking and perceiving. So there's all of these different personality types in these boxes. And so here on the slides, I've given you guys, we're going to do it. Here we go. It's going to happen. Nope. I'm so sorry. On these slides, I've given you guys resources for taking a test, a Myers-Briggs personality test, totally free. And this way, you guys can see what personality type you are, because again, the more you know about yourself, the more you will know how you're going to respond to certain things. There we go. My goodness. So difficult. I am so sorry for this, you guys. I'm usually like really on this slideshow. Excellent. Okay. So personality max and 16 personalities, totally free Myers-Briggs. Depending on how much you want to know, it can take anywhere between like 10 minutes to, I don't know, it said like 90 minutes or something. There's one on this personality max and it'll give you your Enneagram and it goes into like, I don't take responsibility for that. I am only referring you to the Myers-Briggs portion, okay? If you, there's one that seemed cool, like brain type and stuff. I don't know how reliable that is. I know at this personality max, the Myers-Briggs one is excellent. Because again, if you know you're introverted, the cool thing that this will do is if you put your email in on the personality max, it will give you apparently like a 20-page report about yourself. It'll tell you in work environments, you should do this. In your family, you should do this. In relationships, you should do this. In your career, you should do this. So these are both really cool because it'll give you beyond what I could do for you individually, some nice, applicable, some advice for how to move forward. And then just look for self-help books about healing from codependent behaviors and relationships. If you deal with depression, antisocial behaviors, low self-esteem, those are all going to stand in the way of you really becoming, the person that you want to be or somebody who really shines around people. On the left here is one of my personal favorites. I read it every year. My parents didn't mean to, but I was raised in a very codependent environment because they were raised in a very codependent environment, and it will go on if you're not aware. So I read The Language of Letting Go every year. It's set up just you read one little blurb every day. It's incredible. Melody Beatty wrote it, and it's Daily Meditations on Codependency. And that deals with a lot of the people pleasing, the not being able to set boundaries, not being able to say no, the fear of letting people down, the fear of being let down. There's so much of that in there. If you deal with self-esteem issues, which don't we all, depending on the day, The Power of Positive Self-Talk. This is one that I had my 18-year-old read. He loved it. I read it as well, and then I'm going to give it to my dad, who's 70. So it has wide applications. And then also 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. Nathan Brandon takes you through how to build each pillar, and it's really almost like a workbook if you work it correctly. So these are just different ways to help build your self-esteem. All right, I'm not going to read it all to you again because you guys will have the slide, and so you can go through it and read it. It's basically what we did with the kids. Just be intentional about who you want to be in the family. Be intentional about what type of a leader you're going to be in your family, and then do the same in the workplace. The only thing different for work is, really come after your boss if you need help. If there's a difficult person on your floor where you work, in your work group, somebody who's really making life miserable for everybody, again, write an email, put it in writing, and talk specifically about what the person is doing, so it doesn't just come off to your boss like you're just venting about somebody. Set norms for your group work. Change the subject if there's negativity. Sometimes in the teacher lounge, it can get a little dark. So sometimes I'm like, hey, y'all, I heard this joke the other day and it was so funny. And people look at me like really awkward because I've just gone right and interrupted everybody. And then I tell the joke and everybody laughs, and then don't you know it? People are like, oh, one of my students did the cutest thing. And then I'm telling you, it changes the trajectory. And I feel real stupid for a minute while everybody's looking at me. But then it's nice when you help things be a little bit more positive. And then it's not just for the kids, the buddy bench. Find somebody at work who sits alone, who's always alone, or who find somebody in your neighborhood who, if it's an older gentleman or an older woman and they're just alone, bake them something, or have your kids draw them pictures or whatever. Just find people who are alone. The thing that really upset me, and I understand we're not going to get into it because there's 8 million parts to it, but the isolation of COVID really concerned me and concerns me. And this whole deal of shutting down at the grocery store where we don't talk to anybody and we check out our own stuff and we bag our own stuff. For the elderlies, for some of them, that's their only human interaction when they go to the grocery store or the doctor's office. So what are we doing as a society where we're just shutting down every chance we have to interact and to be human and to extend empathy and compassion? So find somebody that you feel safe with, who's alone, and befriend them. Okay. All right. We're not going to play the Kahoot again. You guys rocked it. You did great the first time. And then at the end of the slide are some more books. So the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, which is awesome. So The People is by Stephen Covey because he wrote the first one. Sean did the kid one and the teens. And then How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie, yes, of Carnegie Hall, wrote that one. So if you want to maybe become a billionaire someday, I guess read that one. I read it. That did not happen for me overnight. Or at all. Yeah. All right. Gosh, I know that. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay. I know that was a lot and I wanted to get you guys out here sooner. Any just real quick questions that I can help answer for you? Perfect. I'm going to jump in real quick. Raquel put in a survey. If you could please let me know. On my other survey for people who came in the fall, it said that you guys wanted more interaction, that you guys wanted to be able to talk a little bit more, some more things that the kids could do. And so I really hope that you could see that I listened and let the kids and yourselves be a lot more interactive. So please feel free to look at the slides, and then I will put my email in here, and feel free to email me with any questions or if you want to know more. I did see some people asked if I would come speak to their group, I think Angie, and so I'm going to send you my information and we can set that up. But you guys have been amazing. You've been just wonderful. I said to Deb, you're making me teach people skills online. I can't come teach it in person where I can do things and stuff. She said, you got to do it online. So we did it. So thank you, Deb, for getting me, out of my comfort zone a little bit. And we talked about people skills online. So you guys have been excellent. Thank you so much. Stay around for your prizes. You're going to get prizes here.
Yeah, we're going
Thank
to
you.
do door prizes and announcements, I think.
Yes. Thank you, Eliza. That was wonderful. That was a really, really wonderful presentation and a great topic. So I think everybody got a lot out of that.
Good. Thank you.
Don't forget to take the survey. Raquel, could you post that again? And please, if you haven't signed up for Band, please do that. That's how we're going to start communicating with you guys. It's a really great app. We can post events. We can post updates, classes. You can ask questions. So please get on that as soon as you can.